that stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Lord, be with us today as we deliberate the business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind the best interests of our residents. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind the season that we're in and the blessings that we receive, Lord, and just be thankful for living in Adams County, living in Indiana, living in where we live and the blessings you bestowed upon us. Ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, should have minutes from the last meeting. Any questions or comments on those?
I reviewed them. I saw no corrections or additions, Dan.
Yep, I'm good with them.
Moved we accept.
Okay, motion by Doug, seconded by Stan. The minutes are approved. What else have you got for us, Tony?
I have a couple things there. You should have received the accounts payable claims. 1,157,287.12. Part of the reason for that amount is the jail bond is in this cycle of claims. Right. So that's the biggie, and then you had some Cume Bridge that were pretty good amounts as well. So 1,157,287.12 for accounts payable.
I reviewed the claims. I had one question. I already addressed that with the sheriff. Other than that, Stan, I see no problem.
Make a motion that we pay those claims.
Second.
Motion by Stan, seconded by Doug. Motion passes.
Your vendors think.
How big is the jail bond? What is that amount, the jail bond?
Well, there's interest and the bond payment. There's two different payments on there. I think it's around 650,000 around there.
Combined, okay.
I think it's close.
All right, that's
Maybe off a little bit.
That's a big amount of money.
465, 565, 665 minus 8. Yep, 650-ish.
It's 58, okay.
And that's paid twice a year, so this is the second payment.
Twice a year.
Well, what we did, Eric, I don't know if you remember, we took out a public safety, local option income tax, to service that bond. And then that took those expenses out of the, general fund,
Okay.
you know, to service
Okay.
that, service that
Didn't
bond.
put to good use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We decided we might want to keep the sheriff's.
Yeah, good idea.
Next, we have the weekly allied health insurance claims. Remember last time it was around 7,000 something? Well, they're hitting us back this time. 112,275.63 is the total. And keep in mind, this is the end of the year, so, you know, people going out.
I knew we should have kept that one.
The medical portion of that is 14,041 cents. The prescription portion is 98,275.22. For a total of 112,275.63.
Okay, obviously we're concerned about prescription drugs, but that's the way it is. I move that we accept the Allied Weekly. We have no choice but to pay it.
Yeah, I'll second that. Well, it makes me wonder if so much of that is prescriptions, if that's gonna be an ongoing high expense.
I don't know if that's because it's here towards the end of the year that makes that high. I just don't know.
Right.
And the thing of it is, in today's world, you go to a doctor, you walk out with a prescription,
Yep.
period. Maybe two of them.
Yeah.
And that's just part of it.
By the way,
Might take the splinter out, but that's about
That's why
it.
I'd like to give you the high price.
Yeah. Well, it's, we did pass it, Steve.
We did.
Okay.
Yep, motion passes.
You signed it?
Nope, don't need to sign that.
Yeah, you do. Okay.
Steve's the only one. Okay, and then I have another within series in the commissioner's budget, a fund transfer for you guys. And the reason for this one is our office was instructed to find a place to pay the difference for the mobile app. And the place, we took $6,221 from unemployment and put it into county promotions. And we are using county promotions to purchase the mobile app. And so the amount of the fund transfer is $6,221.
If you guys remember, that's the app we're gonna develop, the communication app that EMA is working on, and it's gonna be used by several of the different departments.
I just need your signature. Let's see.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine. And I'm just looking at this, it's still showing that that is in a negative. Our county promotions.
Officially make the motion to,
That's why we're doing the
make the
transfer.
transfer and pay.
Second.
Okay, motion by Doug, second by Stan, that transfer's approved.
Okay, and then
No, just Steve.
the only other thing that I wanted to bring up for discussion, since Mike is sitting in here now, you all heard at the council meeting that they approved the startup money, I think, for the phone system switch. But during the council meeting, I stated that this is commissioners have to approve switching and so forth. Council just approves the funding of it. So with Mike here, if the commissioners have questions or want to discuss what action you may or may not want to take today, you can go ahead and do that. And especially with Mark sitting here, he can take part in that, what you guys might need to get this thing facilitated.
Well, for one, I've heard Mike talk last week. I heard him talk to the council this morning. I don't think I need to hear it again. I think we need to move forward. Mark, is there anything that,
Can I bring something else up?
okay, Mike?
You want me to come forward with some of this stuff and I think we need to clarify something on how we're going to move forward, because during that meeting, the prior meeting, not the council, but the last commissioners meeting, it was a thing where we described that the cities, Decatur City and Geneva would be off on their own. And so basically, they're gonna have concerns and so on. They kind of express some stuff about where that leaves them and so on. I've asked the companies that I worked with whether they wanted to continue to work with us into the data center to help move those people off, but then they would take over. It would be the cheapest for them to do that if they wanted to. Not that they had to do it. They could go out and find different people if they wanted to, but they don't understand how expensive that's going to be for them to cut ties with everything. And these companies already know about them, have been assisting us and working with them, circuits and everything else, and that includes the phone systems and those sorts of things. So let me outline this while Mark is here, because I think it's important. First of all, I asked All-Star, would you be willing to work with us into the data center? They're a security company, as well as they could work with phone systems, and they could include them into a phone system for these cities if they just wanted to take and migrate our stuff off of ours and build them their own phone system up in the cloud, just like ours, but they would assist in all the numbers, all the transfer and everything else. And the answer was yes. They would be willing to want to come in and work with us within our data center. I said, would you be interested in other people if so desired out in the community, if they wanted to be into there? They said, yes, we'll work. We'll even support other people to do that if we wanted to do it. It's, you know, so I'm just putting the thing out. So then I asked ESI, they're a group that I worked with. Yes, they were jumping at the chance. We will not only support the cities and the towns that want to be included, but we'll support anyone else, even if they want to put their own servers in the data center. They said, yeah, if they want to buy servers off of us and we stick them in the data center, then we would be here to support any of that. I asked Innovative Integration, who runs our firewalls and all the switches, are you guys interested? Yes. I asked CFS, are you interested in having a termination spot in which we have generators, UPSs, and so on, instead of having these little things. There's like sitting in Monroe. If we brought that in, would you be interested in supporting that within here? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'd be interested. We would just have to come to some sort of an agreement. So I think it would be good not only for the cities and towns that they would be willing to do that kind of support. And we would have to charge them, these businesses, for the use of our stuff, whatever. You know, we'd have to come up with some sort of a back charge. We would just charge them, but then they would do everything else for the cities and towns and that sort of stuff. I'm used to that. When I was up by the South Bend area with the company that I did work with, we would go in, we put our servers in the big data center. We didn't have to supply all the other stuff that was going around, but then we just paid. We were just charged monthly fees for what we had in there, our own equipment. We were charged monthly fees for power, air conditioning, UPS services, and security, and that sort of stuff. There was a monthly charge. I also asked CFS, I said, if you came in, how about giving us a discount down to your data center in Evansville, a direct high-speed line down there if we wanted to do some offline backups? And he says, yeah, we'll provide that for you.
This sounds great. We're gonna have our own phone company here.
So it's,
I mean, really.
and we don't have to do anything except charge them back for what they use. I mean,
So
it's the way-
what is our capacity in that server room to do something like this?
We got lots of capacity. That's what we built it for, lots of capacity. And we got an open space over there next to it because we kind of designed it. We didn't know what would happen with the gymnasium and what was ever going to go in there. So we left it over there. So we have available room, but I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying it today, not asking for a decision today, but I'm also at a point where I'm saying, we could do it beyond just the cities and towns, but I'm hoping you'll agree that it's okay to at least do it with the cities and towns, to have them come in. And, I already got quotes from All-Star that they would do their own phone system. They don't have to go with All-Star on that. They can go do their own and everything, but here's a
So this
quote.
would just be the phone. I mean, we would still separate off their other.
No, it's all, yeah, they're gonna separate all the rest, but if they don't stay in with us, Stan, it's gonna be, they're gonna have to try and find people, they're gonna have to try and buy a firewall. They're gonna have to find someone who's gonna run that firewall. They're gonna have to come up with their own circuits and connections. All the connections are there. I just turn the billing over to them. We're working with these companies to get that. AT&T said they would work with them. I mean, I have like 6 or 7 companies. I just asked, would you work with these people?
Because last time we talked, it sounded like we were gonna separate off the cities from our network and just keep the emergency services. And now it sounds like we're kind of switching.
No, that was never what I said before. That's what you took it to be, but that's
Because
not
that's
how
what
I
the
said it.
motion we made was.
The police departments and everything, we're gonna stay on it, but what are we gonna do with the cities and towns as far as making them into a thing where it's not gonna be so much work for my staff and everything else to do it. See, this way, I don't have to go out and I don't have to work with other companies in order, because this is gonna take me and my staff forever to do this, to pull them off and to get it. But if they could stay with what we currently have in place, but just work with those companies and let those companies bill them. And that's what we said on the last meeting. These other companies, we're gonna work with them. Police departments are gonna stay on our network, and the 2 fire departments. But if they could work with these companies, and if they would be glad to take it over, and they are using our equipment, but it's gonna be expensive for them. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
for
sure.
them to come over and to try, because they would have to help us move them off. Do you see what I'm saying? I can't, I don't have the capability or the staff to be able to move them off. It's gonna take us all kinds of time. Because we almost have to teach the other people what it's gonna take to move them off. We've already tried to do it with economic development. Companies inside of Decatur says, oh yeah, we'll take that over. Here's all you need to do, Mike. No, that isn't it. Well, by the time they got done, they told me, we would have never been able to move those out without your help on getting them out. They couldn't do it. Well, what are we gonna do? That's just economic development with 2 users. And the company was gonna take them out of our network. And the people who took them over says, well, we could have never done it without you guys being there to help out. So what's it gonna mean for Decatur? Something, substantially more than 2 users. Even Geneva, substantially more than 2 users. They're sitting there between them, with everything, it's like 20 some users. That includes the police department. So
So Mike, so I understand, I think I understand what you're saying. For their sake, it's gonna be a lot more economically feasible. Do they still have a choice? Or
yeah,
are you saying we're
they could
keeping them
go
on?
right away with that, and they're already asking some other people besides the 2 groups that I have working, Innovative Integration and ESI. They worked with us ever since I came in. I found outside people to work with us in case, at the time when I came in, I was not in good health. And so right away, we got outside vendors to try and help out with some of this stuff. So they have worked with us for the entire 9 years that I've been here, and they understand Adams County really well as the 2 cities extremely well and everything. But if they move away and don't use those 2, this is going to take up an awful lot of my time as well as these 2 companies' time, and they're going to charge us for that. And
So what do you need from us? Mike?
Yeah, what do you need from us?
do we need to still consider doing this? Is this something so bizarre that you don't even want to consider those people trying to work in
No, I
conjunction
think
with us?
that was my understanding of kind of
Yeah,
the
and I wanted to
preferred
make
way.
sure
That was
we-
my understanding of the preferred way we were gonna transition Geneva and Decatur, not including our services out of our system, was to transition basically the daily care to one of our vendors or a vendor of their choice, but probably to leave their hardware sitting in the side of our data center.
They're using our current hardware.
Okay.
So what we would do is they would be there, but they would be logically separated.
And then-
Logically,
Steve,
which
can
they're
I
already
can I
kind of
read this
that way.
motion?
Okay.
I want to see if this is November 18th, under IT Director Mike Brown discussed the future of the IT department as he neared retirement. The middle point to discuss this as time moves forward. Part of the discussion focused on changing the relationship with outside of county government entities. Representatives of the town of Geneva were present. Upon a motion by Stan Stoppenhagen and second by Doug Bauman to begin to migrate IT support outside of county government, out of the control of county IT department and off its network, with the exception of law enforcement at this time, and that the county would continue with the current infrastructure. So I don't know if that motion is what we're saying now, or if that's something different.
I think it tracks pretty well.
Yeah.
I think what we gotta do is, I need to make sure I understand, the infrastructure and the issues fairly well. At least from what I'm hearing, and it makes sense. I think we're talking about some new interlocal agreements between the county and it's Decatur and Bern and Geneva, if they're gonna be part of it, but some new interlocal agreements whereby the county needs to stop being involved in the day-to-day management of the services that they need. And then we put an independent, they can select their own vendor to be in charge of that. And all we're doing is we're leasing data center space or leasing space to them if that's what they want to do. And I think that can be accomplished. I mean, we're talking about a lot of contractual relationships here, but it doesn't have to be all that difficult. And I think it's in the form of interlocal. I prefer to say that it's an intergovernmental type of an arrangement. This isn't private companies. It's local units of local government working together to try to keep their overall cost as low as possible and use resources efficiently. The county has significant resources. We've got capacity, but we don't need to be handling the day-to-day operations of maintaining those other systems. That ought to be handled by vendors. And it's good when you have multiple vendors who are willing and able to do it. Let's facilitate that. So I think that makes sense. I think the motion that you
And the
already,
day by day included all the licensing and the hardware.
Right.
purchasing and all that. We're not doing any of that.
We need to-
They're gonna be getting the licenses
Yeah.
from these other companies and so on,
perfect.
but it's gonna be so much easier, and they're gonna work directly with AT&T on some of the wireless circuits that we have, CFS.
That's
They're
what we
gonna
need
be
to do.
working exactly with them.
Yep.
So we're trying to peel those things off, but to make it easier for them, we said, instead of us switching out a lot of the firewalls and everything else, it would be easier if they continued to work with these people. I just want to make sure that they understand what that really means on there. I have to talk to them about it, but even as some of you may be here and you're listening, when I go to try and explain it to them, they don't catch everything or they still don't understand it. But if they think that they're gonna go out and they're gonna get someone different than these people, that all they're doing is just changing who manages it, that hardware does not go with them. And that management and so on that was there, that these people helped us manage it, they bring in someone new to try and do it, they're not gonna understand, they're gonna have to switch the stuff out. If they have to put it on their own site, they're gonna have to buy hardware, they're gonna have to buy software. I mean, it's just,
And again, I agree with Mark. I think the motion that Stan just read back, to dumb it down and put it in language that I can understand, it feels to me like we're asking the cities and towns to basically hire their own IT director, contract with an IT director. What they would do is they would hire a company to be their IT director,
yeah.
to do all of the nuts and bolts that Mike and his team has done. What we are willing to do is to allow them to have access and allow that physical infrastructure, the servers and the hardware, the
circuits that are already in
circuits
place.
would still remain in our facility, but we would no longer be responsible for managing them.
Yeah, because the whole thing is gonna be so complicated, their head's just gonna spin. They got backup services. We can still do backups using our stuff there, even though they're not physically.
Sounds to me like, Mike, you said I'm gonna talk to them. They may not understand all, but those cities still have a choice to make. It's their choice to make, really not ours. We're offering,
Yeah,
but we're not demanding, right?
we're not demanding, no.
So how do we make a motion in that
we're-
respect?
But I want to make sure that everyone understood what's gonna happen if
I
they
get
do
it.
work with these people, because these people are willing to work with them.
Well, common sense
as
tells me
long
that
as-
they'll say, yes, Mike, we like what we're hearing. We're gonna do
I
it.
think the motion that we have already in what's been passed is fine. It is, we're going to make a change.
Right.
And to the cities and towns, you're gonna need to make a change too. What type of change you desire to make,
It's
that's up to you. Here are the options.
Yeah.
Here is what the
Right.
county can provide,
Right.
and you'll have to lease that, but you're gonna need to coordinate all of that through a different vendor or through your own vendor, not us. okay? And you can either choose to do that, or you can choose to go completely outside. okay?
Right,
But that's your choice.
but, okay, the council approved some startup funds to move this thing.
You're talking about the phone system.
This is
Right.
phone system,
Yeah.
but this is way beyond the phone system.
Well, we start with
that-
the phone
that's
system.
Step one is the phone system, isn't it?
No, they're off of everything. Once the phone system, they're gonna have to go off completely because, that's the way it was gonna have to.
Well,
work.
that's, yeah, that'd be for them, or when we make our transition for our new phone system, will the old system be in place until other cities and towns get off, or no? It's gonna be all cut over at once.
Yeah, it's gonna be cut over at once.
All right, so then we gotta map that out.
Yeah.
But
I
we
guess
gotta
I-
start the process somewhere.
Because we're gonna eliminate those SIP trunks that are causing the
Process
issue.
somewhere, gotta start somewhere.
Gotta
I mean,
start
the council
somewhere.
did their share.
I didn't realize that the cities and towns were on those same SIP trunks and on that same,
Oh,
phone
yeah, they're-
infrastructure as we
yeah,
are.
Well, the city of Decatur isn't, but then all the police departments in the city of Geneva was. And, so there's city of Decatur, they were on with Brightspeed before, and then they went with some other company.
My question is simply, how do we keep this simple and move forward?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the
there's
bottom
gonna
line.
have to be some negotiations with Burry's law firm. We're gonna have to start getting some contracts. We're gonna have to get some stuff down on what we're gonna do, because they're going out and they're trying to find people right now in Geneva. They're already calling up people and this, that, and the other, and they gotta understand a little bit. We better start as a group, not just me, but as a group, maybe if we have Mark there and maybe just one of you at least, where we sit down and we explain the whole thing to them, that if they decide not to use these two companies that we have in place, that we have worked with such a long time, with all the circuits and the networking, that sort of stuff, that they were the ones that configured them. We got the stuff from AT&T, but AT&T couldn't configure it inside of our network. We had to get companies to help out with that whole thing and get things going with the firewall. It's gonna be, Mark, it's gonna be absolutely unbelievably expensive from our end, because if they have to work with a different company, and so do we have to work with a different company and move all this stuff off of this, it's just gonna be fantastically expensive, and they're gonna expect us to do it for nothing. That's what they're gonna expect. You kick this off, so now you pay for it. Well, I'm not gonna come in here and ask you guys for money to remove them off of our network, when we do this.
Would it make sense for us to facilitate a conversation between the cities and towns that we're looking to move off our network and both of these vendors, so that they could maybe explain, here would be our proposal, here's what we would charge, here's how we would manage your system going forward, assuming it sits inside of the Adams County Government Data Center.
Yeah.
Here's an alternative. If you didn't want to do that, here's what it would take to move it
They
totally
need
into
to
your
understand
system.
this stuff, and much better than that. And that's why I even asked All-Star if they would be willing to come in with the phone system, because they were the ones who set up our current system, and all the phone numbers and everything else. If they don't use them, then guess what they're gonna have to do? They're gonna have to port all those numbers over to another company, and there's gonna be a huge charge to get all that stuff done. Even, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To get all that work done and everything. It's not a simple job.
Well, one of the, and I think I heard your answer to this already, but my concern is that we have phone systems that aren't working. That we have, sheriff sat over there and said, at one point, he was losing 80% of his inbound calls, non-emergency calls. That's unacceptable in my mind. What do we need to do today to move that new phone system to make that change within a reasonable amount of time? Call it
Well,
90 days. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is.
if you guys are just talking about the phone system, we say, well, it's approved that we're gonna move the phone system.
Okay, well,
And that's all I need. I can get those quotes out to you.
I feel like that's where we're at. Now, one of the things that I wish I had the proposal from All Star, so I could see exactly what they're gonna do, what they're gonna charge us per month. Do you have that you could get
I
that
can
to
bring it
us?
back down, yeah.
Okay,
Towards the end of the meeting, but yeah, it's gonna be about It's a little over, just for us, if we move the cities and towns off for Adams County, it's gonna be 4,000 a month, which we're currently paying about
3,000. Okay.
So it's gonna be, it's gonna be 1,000. See, that's what we got into with the council this morning, because no matter what, when people look at it, a long time ago, we paid a whole bunch of money up front, you know, to buy these phones and everything. Whereas now with this, you don't have
By
the
the
SIP Trump
month.
charges anymore, but you're paying by the month for these phones that are
Okay.
out there, and it's ongoing, and you never pay it off.
Okay.
That's the thing. They think it's cheaper, but you never pay off the phones.
It's like
with this
leasing a
thing in
car.
the cloud.
At the end of the lease, you turn the car back in and you sign another lease.
Yeah, there you go.
Would it be okay if we asked Mike to bring that proposal back down and then we can take a look at that at the end of the meeting and approve that and move forward on the phones?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think that was council's intent.
I think so too. I would like to see their proposal before I would vote for it.
Yeah, and I think I completely understand the efficiency of what we've created and everybody being in and of the same database. I understand that efficiency, but I think what we have to understand is, like, one of the things that Doug has questioned ever since the first of the year was, why are we spending so much on IT? This is exactly why we're spending so much on IT, because we have a database, we have all these circuits, we have the server room, the power, we have all that stuff. And we continue to maintain it. So not only do we have to understand the expense this represents, we have to understand the responsibility this represents. Because if we continue to provide this service, which I'm fully aware of the efficiencies, we have a responsibility to all these entities to continue to service our generator, our facility, our servers, our everything.
Yeah.
So it's the expense and the responsibility that we're accepting as a county
Yeah.
for all these entities, and and I'm okay with that. We need to understand why our IT budget is 1.5, $1.6 million when Wells County is what, 200,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to have that mindset of, we're doing a big thing here.
And my feeling is, Mike, for Steve's sake, bring the cost figure down. We got a phone problem. It seems to me, common sense tells me, we can fix that. And if the people don't get what you're talking about in the other cities, and they choose not to go along with what's common sense to me, then they wanna pay big bucks. It's not our choice.
I would suggest you begin by, pick City of Decatur, Town of Geneva, one or the other. I don't know. I won't understand what you have to do probably until you get into it and start to do it. As much as you try to explain it to me, I probably won't understand it. So, and I'm not sure that the board members from Decatur or Geneva will either. But I would facilitate a meeting with both of the two vendors that you're recommending, and call it, say, Town of Geneva, or try to get Geneva and Decatur together in the same room and just have a conversation with these vendors about how they would propose to move forward.
Yeah,
But-
so in other words, we gotta be willing to say that we're going to work with some contracts and try and come up with some costs in order what we're gonna charge them back for that stuff. And so that's the purpose of why I'm saying all this stuff.
Yeah.
It can't just be me. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not good at doing the contracts, but if we're going to say, are we gonna continue, then we need to start working with whoever
Yeah.
we're gonna have. I would suppose we would be working with Mark's law firm with this in order to get this done, but we gotta get these meetings going in a hurry. We can't do like we did last year. Remember last year I said, we gotta get all these decisions made in the spring. When did we make them? November. And so
Let's start meeting with the City of Decatur and the Town of Geneva And,
Yeah.
you know, even though we realize there's gonna be some charge associated with the infrastructure, generator, the facility, the air conditioning, my gut tells me it's gonna be relatively insignificant compared to the cost they're gonna have to pay the vendor to manage all that stuff for
Yeah.
them. So let's move forward with both of those, but if you wouldn't mind, bring us back down that proposal
I'll
from
do that.
All Star, and then we'll take action on that at the end of the
Yeah.
meeting.
I just don't want to keep prolonging it. And
No,
knowing the
I-
experience,
I
knowing
think,
the experience that I had last year, I called meetings, I had people not show up. I had people show up an hour and a half late.
I
after
think
we were already
within, I think
done.
within that motion, so
So,
that you have the direction from us to move forward with moving that day-to-day work outside of Adams County. So
yeah.
begin to work with Town of Geneva, and if you need a commissioner to attend some of those meetings,
Well,
just let me know
I
when
think
they
I
are.
I need to sit down with Mike and
We
figure.
we
Okay.
need to sit
I
down, we
gotta
need to
get
start
my-
getting some numbers going. So there's a lot of work to be done here.
Yeah, I gotta get a
lot of
handle on
work and a
the
lot of things
big
to
picture.
consider.
Let's-
And I think one of the things that we did in that meeting earlier this year, and it was in large part on Mark's suggestion, was separating out the line items where some of these payments can come back into, and to where we can divide out
That's the 4016 that our office put
some of the
together.
expenses.
Yeah, but we don't need to do that
Yeah,
anymore.
as we move forward, though, those
Now
things
that we
that
did it, they're
would,
not gonna have to do
those
it.
things that
They're
would
not
have hit
gonna have
those
to
line
do this.
items are gonna be, you're responsible for that. You deal
Yeah,
directly
so
with
we may not
Microsoft,
need
you
that.
deal directly
We
with
may not need
Lenovo,
that
you.
fund after these initial, because we've been sending out invoices and we do have money coming back in,
Good.
but. we'll probably have to
Going
figure out-
forward, that strategy probably will go
Yeah.
away.
That'll change.
Yeah.
And as far as today goes,
We don't need to.
the November motion handles him moving forward.
Right.
If he's bringing a proposal back down and you plan to take action on that, obviously that has to be before the meeting ends.
This is for the phone. Yep,
Right.
Well,
absolutely.
let's get that. I haven't seen it yet, so get it to me. We may put it on the agenda for action next week. I
Yeah,
want a
we can
chance
do
to
it.
review it.
Yeah.
I need to see it.
Very good.
Because there's special language. that
Thanks, Mike.
We need
Yeah.
to talk about.
Nate, come on up.
For exactly.
Did you have anything else, Tony? We kind of.
No. No, I, yeah, it's been a long time.
Good.
No, I think I'm done.
Couple of items here, so, just quick discussion on two different bridge rehabilitation preventative maintenance projects that I have on the schedule for 2026. Wanted to come before you and request permission to request quotes. First for Bridge 31, partial deck patching and joint repair projects. We've done similar jobs elsewhere in the county, in 24, 25. We've got some joint repair work already scheduled, but this one's a little more, invasive. This is carries County Road 900 North between US 27 and Winchester Road over the St. Mary's River. Proposed project is to repair portions of the concrete deck that's delaminated and repair and replace the west joint, which is torn and actually needs repairs. You can see that in the photo. Estimated construction cost from my consultant is saying around $61,000. We'll see what those quotes come in. With your permission, I'd like to send that out to 3 contractors to see what pricing they would provide to me. Intent is to hopefully have quotes by the end of this year for construction in 26.
I move that we grant our county engineer permission to get the requested quotes for Bridge 31.
I'll second that.
Motion passes. Motion by Doug, second by Stan.
Second one here is for Bridge 58, actually some exposed steel shell piles. This will be a project to try to coat those. This was a bridge that we recently did a rigid deck overlay just east of Hellers. It's on 500 North, east of County Road 400 West over the Holt House Ditch. You can see in the photos, these are some fluted steel piles that are there. They're uncoated. Typically, you try to keep those painted. Something that's been recommended to me is rather than sandblasting and painting with a paint coat of maybe 5 to 10 millimeters thick, you could do a polyurea coating, which is closer to like rhino lighting your truck bed. So there's a custom system for that, and I'd like to test that out on this bridge, see how we like that. If it works well, then I'd like to try to use that on other bridges. We have a spec in place that was developed by Engineering Resources under the 2025 on-call services. I'd like to use that here on this bridge. Estimated construction cost is under $90,000 for that system. With your permission, I'd like to request quotes for that, see if that project is a good test case for the future, and then at that time, we can come back and seek other bridges in the future.
Do they still, sandblast it down even
Yep.
though you use your new,
Yeah,
coating?
so all of the prep work would be similar to what you would do for painting, but rather than just painting it, you're getting a thicker coating with this polyurea.
I don't have
coating
a
on
problem with them going forward.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. And then if you want to get back to us in 20 years and see how it helps.
Yeah,
that.
let us
If
know.
we're all still here, you put that in the minutes. If we're all still here in 20
Let's take
years,
it
we'll
down to
work
10.
that out.
10 years. really.
10 years, all right, we'll see. So,
So you got motion, Stan?
Yeah, I'll make that.
I'll
motion.
second.
Yeah.
all right.
Motion by Stan, seconded by Doug. That motion passes.
Yep, and I do have here the annual bids for the E series, and so that'd be the engineer series. I know Brad and Paul have got bids for their systems. I have a couple of them here. Two regarding my power washing bids. First one was from TLC, Make It Easy here. They were
not put those on our. Okay, bid sheet.
yeah, so it's not on that bid tab sheet, so there's, this one's gonna be fairly short. PLC had given me a price for the power washing and cost per 100 square feet. Let's see what his quote was. His cost per, the price per 100 square feet of cleaning was $62.67. The total area came up with a price of $28,200 for this year's work. Another bid was from Inking Pressure Cleaning out of Osgood, Indiana. For the same work, $100 for 100 square feet, he has $110.84 per 100 square foot for a total price of $49,906.82.
Take them under advisement, don't we?
Yeah, we'll just end up taking these under advisement. I also have pricing for steel pipes. And
We have used
structures.
TLC this year, didn't we?
We did use TLC. We quoted that as a separate quoted project. This year I just put it on with the annual bid because it was just a similar.
Were you satisfied with their work?
Yep, they did a very good job. We had them power wash and then we came through with the highway crews to seal some of those bridges. So that's the intent of this work as well. Cool. I've got pipe quotes from St. Regis, and for the lack of trying to read off this chart of structures, I don't know if you're really gonna want me to read any of the numbers from St. Regis. I also have numbers, similar bid tab from Metal Culverts Inc. out of Jefferson City, Missouri. They've given me pricing for their table of pipes from 36-inch diameter all the way up to 96-inch diameter elliptical galvanized and polymerized pipes. Their non-collusion affidavit is included. And then lastly, I have pricing from Civilcon. There's a 3-ring binder of their pricing. That includes both the steel pipes as well as concrete culverts and box culverts. That was another item that they've provided pricing on. So what I'd like you to do, if you wouldn't mind, is just take these under advisement and then I can bring these back after we've put the full tables together.
I move that, we take all the bids that needs discussed under advisement.
Second.
That motion passes.
We'll get you a full bid tab for next week and proceed from there. So, all right.
Good deal.
Any other questions for me?
Thank you, sir.
No problem. Thank you.
Come on up, Brad.
Morning, Brad.
Morning,
Hi,
guys. Paul. Good morning. Sorry, ours isn't as short as an 8 on the annual bids.
You got more info?
We got a lot more envelopes. So we figured we might as well start with that today, the annual bids. We did hand out some tab sheets there. Normally like we do is we might hit a couple of the ones we use a
Brad,
lot.
before we get started, do we have some vendors that's present? If so, could
We have some,
get
yes,
an introduction?
yes, we do from Great Lakes Chloride.
Okay,
Randy
name, please.
Randy and Cole, sorry.
Great Lakes Chloride.
Cole, Great Lakes Chloride.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys. Thought I'd give you one. Well, we'll do a finalization next week and hand them out. If you wanna write them down, I got some. There's some.
I don't worry about it till they get that finalization.
Okay, here we go.
You're reading it right here.
Yeah, here. Well, it doesn't matter if we write.
No way we don't have to do it.
Just we'll read them. Great Lakes Fluoride out of Warsaw, Indiana. They bid the calcium chloride that we use in our salt. It's an additive.
And on Stone.
And on stone roads, correct. It firms them up. 38% solution, $1.50. 32% calcium chloride corrosive inhibitive, $1.54 per gallon.
So you're adding salt to your salt.
Basically, it's an additive they put in to help take it down to a quarter temperature. They'll work at a quarter temperature. They're out of Warsaw. Next one we have is KBL Transport. And they are bidding on crack seal this year. Their bid for the crack seal, minimum 10,000 yard mobilization, 62 cents per square yard. And we do have another one that we normally talk to. It's Pavement Solutions. And they actually use two different products. One has a fiberized strand in it. And that will be this one for Pavement Solutions. The other, the KBL, they do not use a fiberized. So asphalt or Pavement Solutions, sorry, crack seal with polypropylene fibers, 80 cents per square yard.
We're on the contractors.
Local contractors that we use for different projects. Luganville Excavating out of Burn, Indiana. I'm not sure how much you want me to read. I'll read what they would bring to a job site if they do something for us. So they have a 330 cat excavator at $300 an hour. And they have a dump truck at $150 per hour. And generally, those will be the two they use when they come to do projects.
That's with
for
an
us.
operator.
Correct, that is with an operator, yes. Plumbing excavating. The 3.5, what would that be, a 3.5 cubic yard, or what size would that 330 be? That'd be a yard and a
The
half.
330 would be the big one.
Okay. So Fleming Excavating for the relatively same size as what we just read, $420 an hour. And a triaxle dump truck, $135 an hour.
On the stone bits.
Okay, now we're on to the stone bits from the different stone quarries, and there again, I'm just gonna read the ones we generally use the most of. Rock Creek Stone Quarry out of Bluffton, Indiana. 73s, $8.10 per ton. 11s, $14.10 per ton. And those are gonna be the two big ones. 73s are what we put down on the stone roads. The 11s are what we use in our chip seal.
USA.
US Aggregates,
What was the Rock Creek on the first one you had? 11s I got. What was the one before that? 73.
$8.10.
Yep.
So US aggregates for number 70 Freestone. $12.10 per ton. The number 11 stone. $17.50 a ton. And there again, by reading all these and after we take a week of advisement, we'll look them over, but normally we accept all bids. It allows us to go
Right.
all where we are in the county to different. IMI Stone Quarry out of Bluffton. Their number 73s, $13.55 a ton. Their number 11s, $18 a ton.
Where's US Aggregates out of?
They're they have the quarry in Lynn Grove and also in Pleasant Mills.
Okay.
Mesh burgers.
Mesh burgers.
Mesh burgers.
Gotcha.
Here is Stone Street.
All right, Stone Street quarries out of basically Hoagland Poe area there, the one right off of 27. They're number 73s, $14 a ton.
You can quit reading, they just keep going up.
I know,
Just stop.
I know.
No kidding.
Their number 11s, $25.50 per ton. Next will be the asphalt paving contract. Brooks Construction, which is one of our normal that we use. They win the bids quite often.
Don't they own Stone Street now?
They just have they have an asphalt.
They have an asphalt plant there.
Somebody told me they
Yeah.
owned the quarry.
If they did, they need to do better.
Where they actually know.
We got the winter mix.
Oh, that's what it'll be. It'll be
Is
winter
that
mix.
just the winter?
I bet it'll be winter mix, but
That's all I see.
yeah.
The winter
Okay,
mix.
so they're bidding winter mix.
We need to go back to USA.
Yeah, we will then, sorry, if we can.
Yep.
And I'm not quite sure. Says out of Fort Wayne, so that's where we did go up there. So you might be right, Stan. Brooks might own them now. You know, it'd be the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just-
Anyhow, the winter mix, if we go up and get it ourselves, $98 per ton.
I know IMI is gonna build a batch plant on Marion Center Road.
Are they really?
I think so.
Okay. Where's that page? Where's that page?
Yeah.
Should be. There you go. And US Ag, since we didn't read that one before,
Winter mix.
the winter mix is $140 per ton. Now, and I will say too, and I'm not knocking, picking, but there are differences where you get it from also. The quality you get and the. E&B paving, and they're out of Fort Wayne, is that their?
Yeah.
Yeah, or Fishers, they're actually considered out of Fishers. So their winter mix, load on Adams County truck, $95 per ton. API Construction Corporation out of Huntertown, Indiana, winter mix loaded on our trucks, $95 per ton.
What's that first initial for? EBI?
API.
ABI.
No, P is in Paul.
API.
API.
Now we're on the fuel.
We're on to the fuel bids. And basically, you guys, if you remember how this works, we do all this at the beginning of the year but we accept all of them. And then every time we need fuel, we still ask quotes for each one of them. And we go to the most responsive and responsible bidder at that point. But McClure Oil Corporation out of Marion, Indiana. And I'm just gonna read the on-road diesel. It's $2.786, $2.786 because it goes all the way out to the fourth digit.
What's McClure's name? McClure?
Oil Corporation, Keystone Cooperative. They have a plant or a distribution plant in Monroe there on the south end. Their diesel, $2.513.
It's all right.
National Oil out of Bluffton, Indiana. Their on-road diesel, 2.8002. And the other thing to realize with these, it's all spot market price at the point in time when you do it, so.
Troy Traders.
Okay, Petroleum Traders out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Their price for
Right, you were reading off road.
the on-road.
On road.
So is that it?
Yep.
The on-road diesel, 3.3860. And that is it for the annual bids.
Wait for Stan to get back.
Yes. The, since we request bids every time you need to fill, why do we do this? Is it just so we can accept all of them throughout the year?
Well,
Yeah.
basically, I think the way I understand it, the reason we kind of accept their bids there is it kind of puts their hat in the ring. So if their name isn't on the list, the way I understood is if they didn't put their hat in the ring at the beginning of the year, then they're not
You won't
eligible
call
for us to, we won't send them, hey, we need quotes on 6,000 gallons of on-road diesel this time. If their name isn't on the list, they don't get the opportunity, the way I understand it.
They're on the list of accepted annual bidders that you can call for spot price at any time.
There you go.
No, you got it right, Paul. That's been that
Who's in a
way.
nutshell?
That's been in the statute, for ever since I've been here.
Can we come back to that? If we
Yeah,
through these
go
other
ahead.
two things.
Sure.
Stan gets back. Okay, I'm gonna let Paul do his normal thing. Guess what hit us? Winter.
Snow came, so of course, just like every year, we pass out the shake your mailbox to getting out to the media for everyone to check their mailboxes, so they're not, get too excited when they fall over the first time snow hits them when we go by with our snow plows. And also with the normal Indiana winter, spring, summer, winter, spring, summer cycle that we do, I also included the Stone Road winter maintenance. Kind of just a summary of how we take care of our stone roads in the wintertime due to they're too soft or you can't sand them because they're slick, and just some different things to get out to more to the media so the public knows a little heads up what we're doing. We've been doing that for the last 3 or 4 years, I think. I don't know if it's helped any, but I can't say we didn't try to give them some information. And I believe you passed one out to everybody.
Yes, everybody has one.
Yep.
I stand where you were going. They finished up all the bids. We did not take a motion to accept all, but I will make a motion now that we accept all bids that was presented from the highway department involving fuel, gravel, asphalt, and chloride.
I'll second that.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, do you want to take them under advisement? We typically take these under advisement.
Yeah,
Take
yeah,
motion
I
to
meant
take them
under
under
advisement,
advisement.
Tony.
Yep.
I'll word it correctly.
Motion to
Okay,
take under
thanks,
advisement.
Tony.
All right, one of the other things, since Paul covered that, as part of the community crossings that Nate applied for the one bridge, and we also applied for some paving, and we did not receive the paving portion of that. So we have discussed it, and the portion that we did apply for, we would like to go ahead and put that up for bid, and, I mean, we'll pay for it, but it needs something done to it. So the portion of 000, sorry, Stan, I'm going south,
I know.
from 218 to Covered Bridge Road, and also the portion of County Road 700 South from 000 to US 27. Those were the ones we applied for and we got turned down on, so we would like permission to go ahead and advertise the bid, and then we're gonna pay for it.
What was the second? section?
700 South from 000 to 27.
And, okay, you were going, that was for, I mean,
The
you,
paving, wedge and level,
okay, that would be an asphalt paving.
correct, asphalt wedge and level.
That would be
yes.
for next year,
Yes, and if we can get this going now, we think, Nate, he already had to have the plans ready to apply for CCMG, so the plans are ready. And if we can get this, your permission to advertise now, we could get this thing lined up, have them on contract by February, and then get it in line for, let's get it done next year.
okay?
How did you choose, how did you choose that?
The 000 South is one of those roads that,
No, the 700.
oh, okay, because from 000 to 27, that's kind of a cut around burn. And also that road is very rolly, like we've discussed, like some of the other roads we've been trying to do. It is very rolly through there.
Cause I noticed you had traffic counter tubes across Winchester and across 350 West.
Okay, that was NERC.
That was
The
who?
Northern Indiana Regional
Okay.
NERC Council, yeah. That was them. They, I think they do it every year. They'll pick different sections of roads around the county and they'll do traffic counts. We didn't ask them to do that. They go out and they pick those spots. And a lot of those spots they've done years before. That way you can kind of compare them, the traffic count year to year on. Yeah, that was something they did. We didn't ask them to do that.
And that 700, Stan, that 700 they're talking about would also connect to the 700 going west of 27 to 150.
Okay.
That we just did.
That we just did.
Okay.
Okay, so on the 000 project, would there 000 Minnick Road, some of these, Stephen addressed a little bit.
Collector roads, the
Yeah.
federal.
Would
classification
that
collector
be, was there any possibility of after, well, first of all, let's take one step at a time. I move that you go ahead and ask for,
Advertise the bid.
right, advertise a bid on 000 from 218 to
950
Covered Bridge, right? And also the
700.
700 South 27 to 000.
Yeah.
Okay, so I make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, so motion passes.
Okay, and just a question on 000, once we get that project done, would there be any chance of considering lining that
Oh,
portion?
yes, that is included.
Oh, that's
That will be
included,
paint striped, yes. There will
Oh,
be
good.
lines on that,
Good.
yes.
but what about lining from 000 to 27 too? On the 700?
I think we had that in the whole thing, didn't we?
It should be.
Yeah, that was in the whole project.
Got a,
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice, that'd be a good deal.
Done, we should be able to do that.
I would be curious to see if you have any contacts with Merck to see what those traffic counts are.
Yeah, they will, and you can actually look online also, once they get them done. They do put them online. You can look at it.
Because I know you've got Winchester scheduled for paving in 2030
Yeah,
and nothing at all on 000 north to the county line.
but I didn't forget that. We just haven't given you a new list with that added in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those are all connector roads.
Yep.
And so I guess I would hope to see a little bit more emphasis put on connector roads.
Yeah.
For paving and.
Which is
no
what,
maintenance also.
it's what we've been trying to do. the reason 000 kind of got up there is because of the buggy trough, the horse troughs in there. It makes it a little more treacherous when it's raining or there's standing water because of that horse trough. So we try to eliminate those. So,
And 000 is one of those collector roads.
and it is, and there's a lot of traffic goes down there, a lot of traffic. So.
I could make the same argument.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah. But I know with that road schedule you put out, 000 going up to Fackler Road is not on the schedule at all.
Yeah, but I didn't forget it. I just haven't put it in there yet to give you a new copy. Yeah. I did.
Yeah, cause it's a roller coaster.
Yeah. Yep.
Very good.
I think that's all we
Anything
got.
else?
I hope we didn't
Anything else for Brad Paul?
I don't know.
Okay, thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks,
All right.
Brad Paul.
Put my agenda back over here. Rick, what have you got for us this morning? Good morning.
Hi, guys.
Morning, Rick.
Rick,
I want to give you an update on the mechanism on the flag at the
Yes.
courthouse. First, I want to, I came in Sunday because I had to lower them to Pearl Harbor to get it down.
Yeah.
But I made a mistake. I don't know what I was thinking, and I take full responsibility for it, but I hung an IU flag up there on that thing up there.
Instead of the
Instead
US
of-
flag.
Yeah. Anyway, if anybody says anything.
No complaints.
Did you put the Ohio State at half staff?
I wanted to on the big one. Anyway, the mechanism, last week I received a message from John Summers that Furman Electric would be in yesterday and possibly today of installing this whole ordeal. And I've been communicating with them the last 2 mornings. The box is installed downstairs. Where it is when you get off of the elevator, say, second floor, it's straight ahead in that office in there. You turn left, you would go to child support. and
Right.
So it's in there. So they were working on, I think they got all the conduit, all electrical up there. They still got to kind of wire up there and they took their hoist up there. But when I was talking to them Monday, I thought this would be a problem. And I don't, at this time, they don't know what they're gonna do about it, but the pulley up there, because when I go up there, it's spring loaded. And I've kind of got to hold the crank and I've had to pull it by hand, believe it or not, to get it to go. But, when they hook that on there, when the pulley wants to spin that cable. So it's an issue for them. They got to get figured out. So they were going to go to, I think they were heading out to Precision Metal Craft to see what they could do about it. But said we might have to put a rope up on there. I said, well, I get that down here on these flagpoles, you know, because there's a rope that raises and lowers, even all 3 of them that are on the ground. But they were concerned about the pulleys that were put up there. You know, when we got the crane and that, if that would work now with a rope, if they can't get some type of a pulley system down there to run the cable, because it's just spinning. You don't want to grab. It doesn't want to take it. So anyway, that's where that is. So they're still trying to work on that and figure that whole thing out. So I just
wonder if it has something to do with the cold weather.
It's just metal on metal. It's just
Metal
gonna
on
spin.
is what it is. Exactly. That's what it is.
You know, you think about, could they rubber
Rubberize some
coat that,
one of
that
them.
cable or something,
Well,
or?
they're gonna go to them and see what they recommend and how to do it. So,
You know, my capabilities of thinking.
Downstairs.
They'll figure it out, I bet.
What that looks like, it's a box that'll be like key driven. So say green is up, yellow would be neutral. I said, we really don't need a red because we'll never bring it all the way down from there because you really can't, because you gotta be up there if you're gonna change it, because it could get stuck, wadded up, you know, down. So I just enlightened you what was going on with that.
Okay. Thanks, Rick.
Anything else? I mean,
I don't.
I don't think so. Very good.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you. County Attorney, what have you got for us, Mark? I see Clayton's on remote.
I don't think we have anything other than reviewing contracts that we have right now.
I sent you an email last week regarding a lease for WIC,
Yes.
a month-to-month lease for WIC.
Yep.
I know you've got your plate full, but
We'll see if we can get that.
see if you can get that knocked
Sorted
out
out,
for
yeah.
us. Yeah, they're, as we know, WIC is gonna be leaving this building. But, they just came under new supervision. Meridian Health in Muncie is now the supervising entity for WIC. And for their insurance to be valid, they need to have a lease. We've already sent them notice of lease termination at the end of this month, but they aren't gonna be able to be out by the end of this month. So we agreed to put them on a month-to-month lease with 30-day notice of termination by either party. Give them a couple of months to find a new place and get moved. So,
Yeah.
so I felt like that, hopefully that was okay with you guys, that I committed to that. But-
Yeah, Mark, that wouldn't be a big transition, more to go to a month to month from
No.
that seems.
Yeah, let me look
So,
at it.
so that's what I've asked Mark and Clayton to take a look at. Anything else, Mark? I guess. Clayton, anything for us?
No, I'm hopeful actually. I was gonna take a stab at preparing that month-to-month lease, either today or this evening. So hopefully have something to you really soon.
Good, good deal. Clayton, while you're on the line, one of the things I was gonna tell the guys about was the, interlocal agreement that you drafted for the town of Monroe is gonna be presented to the county park board regarding, some improvements town of Monroe wants to make to the, to the park out there in Monroe. That the park board has already agreed, and we have agreed to transition that park from the county ownership to town of Monroe for their management. We're not quite ready to do that, but the town of Monroe is ready to begin to make some improvements out there. So they just wanted an understanding that ultimately that park would become theirs. So Clayton drafted a really, a nice interlocal agreement that the town of Monroe approved that, that we'll be taking to the park board at the January park board meeting, for their approval. But just to bring you guys up to speed on where that's at, in case you hear something about it.
Didn't
So
we have some hesitancy for some reason?
we did,
I
and
can't remember why.
but there were a couple of things. One of them was, the stormwater study that's being done.
Okay,
There may be some opportunity for in-kind grant to participate in some federal funding there. And we thought maybe that transfer of that land could be part of that in-kind grant.
yeah.
The other thing is that the playground equipment there is not ADA compliant at this point. And we were afraid that if we transitioned ownership, that would immediately fall out into non-compliance and make it so the playground wouldn't be able to be used. So
Yeah.
there's a couple of things there that we're working on. A reason we haven't actually gone ahead with the transfer, but this interlocal agreement basically says, yeah, we're gonna transfer it in the future. The timing's just not right now.
Gotcha.
So that's basically what Clayton, is that a fair summary of your interlocal agreement?
Yeah, definitely. Again, it's with the Parks Board right now, the town of Monroe would like to do some sidewalk installation with some of the sidewalk fund they had remaining this year. So, again, Justin just kind of wanted to do that. And I said, given that it's not our property, the town of Monroe's property yet, there really should be an interlocal agreement with the Parks Board agreeing. But I think as as Steve, excuse me, kind of mentioned, that interlocal agreement also in writing to some extent talks about the fact that it is the intent of both parties for that eventual transfer, understanding that it's delayed at least for the near term.
And I have forwarded that on to the park board for their review, so, hopefully we can consider that at the January park board meeting. Sorry for that aside there, guys, but.
No, I see it here. It's got paragraph on intent to transfer that covers that, so.
Anything else, Clayton or Mark?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Nothing for me. Thank you guys.
Shannon, have you got anything for us?
I just have one thing. So just yesterday, I sent you guys the 2026 COBRA rates for health insurance. That is based on the expected funding plus layers of liability. USI produces those numbers for us. And then obviously we break it down into what the employee pays versus what we would pay. So I just we get those approved every year. Tony reviewed them for me yesterday, and he said that they look good. So I just wanted to know if you had any questions or.
And the COBRA rates that we're approving is the rate that an employee who has left our employment would pay if they wanted to continue on the company, the county's insurance plan.
Yes, and it's also the rate that we use to bill the other entities with
Right.
for. Yep.
Right.
Yep. So it's basically, they take all of the expected costs, everything, and they lump it together and they develop a per month, depending on the type of coverage rate. So it's a true rate that we expect to spend yearly. But obviously it could be one employee could spend more or less depending on their personal situation. So it's not inflated. It only has that 2% that COBRA allows based on what the actual figures are.
So we just need to approve those rates if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, I have no problem with them, Stan. I appreciate the information.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we approve
Second.
those rates.
Okay,
as
motion
presented.
by Stan, seconded by Doug. That motion passes.
Okay.
No
That's all I
rates are
have.
approved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. Tom, we're gonna talk in open hours, or you have something for us during the meeting? Okay. See, Nathan's joined us. You got anything for the good of the order, buddy?
Or open office hours.
Okay.
Got a notification this morning, though, that our closing with SRF this morning, so we're good on that for Project 6.
Good deal.
No, it's the actual closing.
And we have a pre-construction meeting tomorrow morning at 11.
But yeah, the actual closing was approved this morning.
Good deal.
And project 6 will entail,
That's when it can.
When it gets big,
Up by
then
33.
100, 200 east up to 400 along 33. Loop that in, and then the Monmouth upgrade from the lift station back to the treatment plant. That line.
are you gonna cross the bypass?
Cross
Yes.
33.
That's what I gotta talk to you guys about.
Okay.
But yes, we are.
Okay.
Okay.
They're going under 33.
Okay.
Very good. Anything else from the public? Guys, anything else before we adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
we're adjourned.
Shannon.
Thanks.